Hi, everybody, and welcome to New Consciousness Review. I'm Miriam Knight, and our guest today is Cyndi Dale, an internationally renowned speaker, healer, business consultant, and author of 14 books, including the bestseller, The Subtle Body, an Encyclopedia of Your Energetic Anatomy. It won 4 internationally recognized publishers awards, and you can find it on ncreview.com. Anyway, Cyndi works with clients and groups, serving as an intuitive coach and energy healer. And with her business partner, Anthony Benson, she provides creativity and writing classes through their business, Dreams Made Manifest, an arm of which is Deeper Well Publishing, the publisher of her own and Anthony's projects, as well as other books and products. Today we'll be learning about Cyndi's latest title, The Intuition Guidebook, How to Safely and Wisely Use Your Sixth Sense. Welcome, Cyndi.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you. And it's a perfect time of year to talk about our sixth sense as we kind of wrap up this year and go into the next. And we want to use that psychic sense very wisely, don't we?
You bet. And if there's a book destined to help people open to it, yours is it.
Oh, thank you.
Cyndi, for an intuitive healer, you have such an unusual background in business, including teaching business ethics at the University of Minnesota and consulting for 3M and Tonka on PR. Now, how did this rather interesting mix come about?
Well, isn't that just a hoot of a background to end up doing basically intuitive readings for people?
Yes.
You know, I was super sensitive as a kid. I'm one of those, people who as just a young child was able to see colors around people, pick up on other people's senses, feelings, needs. You know, once in a while what might happen in the future, I could always tell when mom was angry. I could always tell when dad, was kind of not in a good mood. And I thought it was normal. I thought that's what everybody did. But lo and behold, my parents weren't too pleased with my abilities, especially when I was accurate. And, so what happened over time is I really just started shutting down those innate psychic or spiritual gifts. So by the time I was 12, 13, 14, I just wanted to fit in. Miriam, I just wanted to be like everybody else. I wanted to kind of slide through school, look the same, act the same, talk the same, certainly not see angels in the classroom or, kind of on the other side of it, some of the more dark and shadowy figures. And so it was really natural for me in you could really say, in order to avoid the more subtle world, to go into the more corporate world. Because at that time, anyway, they were almost on opposite poles. Mm-hmm. So I thought, gosh, I'm safe if I can wear a suit to work and kind of, at the time we were wearing little bow ties, we women were, and short pumps. I thought, I never have to face down, the demons, the angels, the other parts of myself that made me question concrete reality again. But I did enjoy, actually, studying business ethics, public affairs, corporate social responsibility. So I spent quite a few years, kind of really digging into the whole world of ethics to the level that I was actually able to even teach corporate social responsibility through the University of Minnesota. And, at one level, I was kind of running away from other gifts, and at another level, I was probing the questions. What's good? What's not good? What are our responsibilities as human beings? In looking at what are the boundaries we're supposed to uphold from the point of view of a corporation or a business or a nonprofit, I was really kind of tumbling myself into the same questions in the personal arena. I just didn't know it then. So I spent several years exploring the world of business, but always looking at the deeper questions. Who are we? What are we here to do? What has meaning? What doesn't? And what are we supposed to do from a corporate point of view? And, even now, though I work mainly with individuals, not always, I work with businesses still too, and I'm looking at questions about, what's somebody's personal destiny? What is somebody supposed to understand about their own spiritual nature and their own boundaries and their own needs? The questions are actually kind of the same, to be honest.
Well, don't you feel that it's almost a convergence of the two streams at this time? We have all of these questions being raised about corporate responsibility and even political responsibility with recently a book came out about how all the Congress people are enriching themselves at the expense of the taxpayer. And we also have an awakening on the part of the people, not only to what's going on in the world, but also to questions about connection. And I can't tell you how many people have told me the same story of having been intuitive as a child and then having that squashed out of them, wanting to conform.
Absolutely. And I do think there's a convergence going on. And it was actually prophesized by a number of different tribes and cultures and countries. I think mainly of the Hopi prophecy that's hundreds and hundreds, if not centuries, years old, where the Hopi Native American group down in the Southwest said at one point two roads are going to have to come together. And one road, is the red way, is the rainbow path, is the path of seeking and being into nature, but being responsible to nature as well. It's the path of the intuitive. It's the path of the spiritual. It's the path of the heart. And they also prophesied there'd be a different path that's represented by the so-called white man, that we could term the corporate, the technological, the so-called progressive. But the Hopi said these two paths have to come together to form the road that we can all walk down in a way that's peaceful and that's responsive and that's responsible. I think it's exciting. I think we're in that time. And, a lot of my clients have maybe not the same background that I do, but they're looking at the two parts of themselves, the part of them that has to get up, go to work, pay the bills, live in a life that has no margin. We're all falling off the pages. We have no time. Everything's buzzing. You can get to anybody through 5 different means. Email, internet. It's crazy, how we're all so exposed with very little of ourselves left intact. And yet most of my clients and the people I know are also seeking to resurrect and to reframe the part of them that's deeper, that's personal, that's been held maybe sometimes too private, Miriam, but isn't supposed to be private. Some of us call it the true self, the inner self, the spirit self. We can't ignore one for the other. I do know that for sure.
Oh, you know what? You mentioned your true self. There was such a great quote in your book that I kept on underlining little quotes all over the place. And I want to just read it out. Your true self is your spirit. You are here to express your spirit. If a teacher or role model or a system of knowing such as tarot cards actually helps you better define and become your own spirit, great. But if they no longer lead you further into your real self, then you have to stop consulting them. Such wise words.
They are, and they come out of personal experience, as most great wisdoms do. I kind of grew up white wonder bread Lutheran, which wasn't a very suitable background when it came to figuring out my intuitive gifts. And so I started exploring the different realms of shamanism, healing, intuition in America and abroad. And so I kind of grew up with what people call the New Age, and I've gone through a lot of different phases. I've done my crystals, I've done my pendulums, my tarot cards, my channeling, my this and my that, none of which I really work with anymore. And so we do go into different stages that teach us or heal us, and it's so important to be open to evolving. Not that what we've done maybe is wrong, it just may not be right anymore. So we always have to grow. I have to constantly ask myself the question from the inside of myself out. Does this fit? Does this suit? Is this who I'm supposed to be right now? Is there another rim that I'm supposed to get to? Another horizon to go toward?